Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my Metro 2033 Redux Good Ending walkthrough, and this is mission 13, also known as Trolley Combat. And we have run into two Spartan Rangers. I think they're called Pavel and Wolfman. And these guys are more or less fucking insane. They are completely fearless. As I said, they are part of the Spartan Rangers, which is a neutral faction in the Metro, and they help to police it more or less. As you can see, they have gone through these Nazis like it's nobody's business, more or less. But we are gonna ride on this big trolley and we are gonna man the turret. So this level is more or less like a rail shooter.
Good luck to you.
And that is something I think is very interesting about this game, is that there is a big diversity in the gameplay. Because you can sneak through levels, you can shoot your way through levels, and sometimes there are these levels where you do other things, like a rail shooter. And I'm a big fan of rail shooters overall. I've had a blast playing the House of the Dead games, and I love Time Crisis and Virtua Cop and all those good arcade rail shooting games. But this, I'm not a super big fan of this level, to be completely honest, because the controls for this turret are a bit wonky. You move it to the left or right using the left analog stick, and you move your sight up and down by using the right analog stick. I think this level would have been a lot better if all the controls were done with just one of them, because when you're playing it, it feels a little bit wonky, it feels a bit weird, and it will need some getting used to. It can help you if you get your aim to a good height. You want to keep it that way, you can let go of the right analog stick and just try to keep it there. But I think that this rifle climbs a little bit when you're firing. There is some recoil to it. And you have unlimited ammo for this rifle. But you see down there on the right side of the barrel there is a little gauge with a green field, a yellow field and a red field. If you fire it enough for it to go completely into the red field, your gun will overheat and you will have a few seconds of downtime where you cannot fire it. I recommend that you never fire enough bullets for it to overheat. As you can see, it takes quite a long time for it to build up that high. But if it overheats, it doesn't take very long. I can't remember exactly how long the cooldown is, but it can get you killed, because if you can't fire your gun, you're just a sitting duck in a can, more or less. And these trolleys chasing you, I don't know if there is a super effective way to take them out. I always just spray them. I've tried doing different strategies, trying to aim for the head of the driver or the gunner. Doesn't seem to affect how much damage they can take before they explode. So whenever one of them shows up behind you, just spray it. And as long as you're not firing at enemies, never fire a gun, always let it cool down. And this part, I think, is the absolute hardest part of this level. Because we have gotten stuck. There is a barricade, you can see. I think it's Wolfman driving back and forth trying to break it down, and we are being swarmed by enemies. And this is quite hectic, there is quite a lot of smoke and fire and all that shit. So what I try to do usually is just to aim for their flashlights. Because their flashlights are really close to their heads. I think it's mounted on their shoulders, so if you aim for the flashlight, you usually take out the guy who's wearing it as well. And try to do those quick moments where you let go of the trigger. Because now I'm getting really close. This gauge actually goes up to 12, so it's more extreme than Spinal Tap. And any metalhead out there will know the fun. Or will realize the joke. Either way, As soon as you start moving away from the station, let go of the trigger in the meantime until that trolley shows up, so you don't overheat it. And something that can make this level harder is, once when I was playing this, I think it was on my first recording run, or when I was playing this just for fun, I just took a blast right there from that tank. And if I remember it correctly, I came out of that station, I was really close to death, because you cannot heal during this level, I think. I was really close to death, and that tank hit me and it killed me. And when it put me back at the checkpoint, I was still at really low health, and it was a few seconds before that tank hit me. So I got insta-murdered again and again and again, and it wasn't a single thing I could do about it. So I had to restart the level from the beginning and try to do it better. And that is not great game design, I must say that. Because when you put in a checkpoint like that, at least let me be at full health. Do not save the game with me being in a critical state, because that just makes it impossible to move on. And there we went through the second station, which is, in my opinion, a lot easier than the first one, because it is quite a short fight. We have gotten past the hardest parts. Now we're just gonna be chased by a few more trolleys. And as I said, when it comes to the controls of this level, I think it would have been much easier if they have just put all the movements on the left analog stick. I think that's what it makes it unnecessarily hard. Because it is a very short level, it is a combat system that you will never use again in the game. Because I think this is the only level where you man a turret like this. So it could have been done a lot better, and it would have made the level easier. It's not a super hard level, at least not on normal. I can think, or I believe, that if you're playing this on, what's it called, Ranger mode, the highest difficulty, where which one that lives and who dies depends on which one of you sees the other one first when it comes to enemies. Ranger Hardcore, it's called. I can believe, or I can imagine that on Ranger Hardcore it's really difficult unless they have nerfed the damage output of the enemies. And there you saw also a safe key right next to a safe, and we picked up 150 military grade rounds. And as I mentioned before, there is a trophy for picking up 1,000 military grade rounds, I think. Or at least it was in Metro Last Light, the original game. And if you pick up all the safe keys and open all the safes, you will get a trophy called Thief for raiding 15 safes. There are collectible guides out there to get them. I know I have used one. And that is something I could have put into this walkthrough, but I count the saves as collectibles. They are not vital to get through the game, so I skipped that. As you have probably noticed if you have followed this walkthrough. But we got through those stations and we have moved over to another trolley. So I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman, signing off.